This is a progress report at 3:53 p.m. I'm currently watching a YouTube video entitled Star Trek Section 31 Review by my favorite YouTube channel, Red Letter Media. Lots of good insight into the general vibe of the current landscape of modern Star Trek and how it's not what it used to be and why. Very fascinating. I'm getting a lot of enjoyment out of it. I finished eating a delicious meal, carne asada nachos from Alberto's. That was good. And I took a whole lot of notes from a YouTube channel that I'm struggling to remember the name of. As you can see right here, there you are. Yeah, lots of good information here. I was originally going to take notes on Adobe Premiere Pro software, but I have decided to switch gears and just look at the core foundations of good video production. Alright, so yeah, I'm just gonna finish this video. After that, I'm gonna take a nice walk around the neighborhood for half an hour, and then I'm going to continue watching a drawing tutorial so I can get better at art. That's about all there is for the current update, and I'll see you in the next cut. Remember when I said I was gonna go on my walk right after watching that Star Trek video? Well, it turns out that I consciously did not do that. Instead, I started getting serious about improving my audio equipment for next time I decide to record another video, either for a gameplay session or whatever else. And so I went on Amazon and looked for wireless noise-canceling microphones that you can stick on your jacket, so my video quality can improve and be more watchable. Afterwards, I decided to watch more videos, specifically music videos of various music that I enjoy. Really, it was silly music that reminds me of memories I had in my youth. Specifically, one was I don't remember the band. It was All Those Small Things band. Those guys. They decided to allow Nickelodeon to use their music for a SpongeBob music video, and I was watching that. It was the video game versions of the characters. It was kind of funny watching their lifeless bodies dance around, like with little to no expression in the eyes, just like kind of their leg expressions moving around. Then I watched a movie clip from the movie Mulholland Drive, directed by David Lynch, about women and how they're treated in Hollywood. It was just a clip of a lady singing and these business tycoons being asked by the director to let him know that that's his final decision for the lady. I've actually never seen the movie, but I keep on watching that clip and again because of the feeling about it gives me, and those feelings are very important. It's good that movies make you feel things, because it makes you explore your mind, your subconscious. Of course, now, after an hour and 10 minutes, or even longer, the time is 5:06. Now, I better take this walk now before it gets too dark outside so cars can see me walking. I'm gonna go walk for about a half hour. And when I return, I plan on practicing my art skills. So, prepare for the next update, see if I actually do it or not. Well, I'm back from my half an hour walk, and it was a very good exercise. I was listening to the Wicked soundtrack from tracks, what are they called? Popular all the way to Defying Gravity. Because I was listening to the soundtrack earlier in the day on my drive to pick up some nachos to eat. And don't worry, I logged those in. 1,200 calories. Probably the only meal I'm eating today. But yeah, it was sort of an on-off thing. Like, sprint for a little, walk a little, sprint a little, walk a little. I felt like it was a sufficeable exercise. I remember in my habit journal, I wrote down 30 minutes of cycling every day, but I think I'm just going to change that to just half an hour of exercise to keep it broad in general so I can decide on what exercise I feel doing given the day. I felt like the cycling thing was probably a good idea for a little while, just to have like something specific to work towards. But now that I'm trying out different types of exercises, it's probably better to diversify my picks. Anyways, yeah, I'm back, and now I'm going to be doing a drawing session for an hour. I'm hoping to learn a lot. And if I don't deviate from the schedule, on to the drawing. Hello. So, remember when I said I was going to do some drawing exercises? Well, it turns out I did not do that. Instead, what I did was that I found a very interesting video from a man named Stephen Travers, and the subject interested me. The title interested me. The name of the video was Common Mistakes for Self-Taught Artists, which is what I would consider myself. And I thought to myself, oh, take some notes, and every single bit of word that came from Stephen I found so valuable and so useful that look, 1 note, 2 note, 3 note, 4 note, 5 note, 6 note, 7 note, 8 note, 9 notes. And you know what's the funny thing? What he said was so good, I practically plagiarized the entire video, or at least most of the video. But honestly, if you want to watch the video, it's called Mistakes to Avoid as a Self-Taught Artist by Stephen Travers Art. It was fantastic. Let me just go through how many points did he say in the video? 6 points he gave. Basic run through of all of them so you understand what I learned. The first thing to do is to have a clear focus at the end point you want to get to. The more specific, the better. When you get clear and specific, it eliminates a huge range of options. This discernment of specified options makes it easier to make choices from the options available to you and your attention. So you have to ask yourself, what skill level am I? What technology am I using? Am I just using pen and paper? Or am I using something more advanced like a drawing tablet and a program like Photoshop? As soon as you have those basics down, now you choose a subject you want. Like, are you teaching yourself how to draw like perspective? Are you teaching yourself how to draw the human form? You need to find one subject of drawing and stick to it. Because if you don't do that, you're going to be overwhelmed by the amount of drawing tips and choices out there, and you won't know where to start. So, very good suggestions. Second way to become a good self-taught artist. Once you've specified your chosen area you want to study and what you need to do to get there, so you must start from simple and then work your way to complex. But this is incredibly good advice. Once you have found that area, it sounds basic, but I'm honestly, trying to figure things out on my own. So starting from simple to complex with your chosen medium, I think I should just start with digital art, digital drawing, because that's where most of the industry is going anyways, and it's the quickest, most convenient, most snappy option. So I might as well. What area should I focus on? Probably perspective. I should start with perspective and everything I can learn from it. That's going to be interesting, for sure. And then I'm going to start as simple as I can get and work my way up. And I have to document this process of learning. So, all right. The next step is to find a few video presenters and stick with them. Do not presume that all videos that the artists are going to put out will be useful to you, even if some are useful for you. You still need to make choices. The reason why this can be helpful is that usually from a course, the lessons come from one person's mind. One person has planned it all out, the direction, the order, and the progression. So there is a consistency, a unity that we lose when we do a chapter 1 from a course, a chapter from another course, and so on and so forth. But a series of videos made by one person presumably comes from the one place, that one approach, the one way of thinking. There won't be a danger that what I see here won't clash with what I have seen the day before or a week ago. It's a total time saver too, because you won't spend endless time scrolling through all your videos. You can go wide with a bunch of different areas, but only to go very shallow because you're only learning a little bit from a wide area of media. We'll never get a real skill level in any of them. You can change your focus, but at a point you need to stay focused in a reasonably narrow channel so you can really hone your skill and experience. All of this is quoted directly from Mr. Stephen Travers, by the way, so just want to get that out there. this is not all coming from me. This is all coming from Steven, and I simply wrote it down to help me remember it better. All right, so I read that entire section because I agree. That's one of the things that I have been intimidated by when it comes to my art. I just get stuck in way too many rabbit holes and different little things like, this person's teaching it this way and that person's teaching it that way. Well, is this the correct way or is that the correct way? Which way is it? But the idea of finding just one teacher who is clearly proficient in what they're doing and then sticking to them and learning from the basics to the more complex situations with that teacher is a very intelligent way of going about teaching yourself how to draw. So kudos to Mr. Steven Travers for that very important point. The fourth thing he mentioned was looking for video presenters. An important point to remember is to not mistake well-presented videos with videos that are actually good at teaching you to draw. Basically, to sum it all up, go for the substance of the video, not for the style of the video. Because you may find someone who makes a very fun video to watch, but if you didn't really learn anything and were instead just entertained by it, I mean, it's cool you were entertained by it and got some joy out of it, but if your whole point for watching the video was to get something out of it and you got the wrong things out of it, it's time to find a new teacher. So even if the teacher seems kind of boring, even if they don't really know how to record their audio or their equipment, if they can present the information that you are looking for in an educational and meaningful way, then that's what you should be looking for. Number 5, do not get sucked into the vortex of tips, tricks, and shortcut videos. And here I am quoting him again. Some are rubbish, some are obvious, but even with the useful ones, we get them as a stand-alone tip, and not in a drawing process context, not in an ongoing journey of learning new skills by developing them and consolidating them. A tip is more difficult to implement because it's demonstrated as just one part of a far more complex puzzle. Context is important, and if you don't know context for the tip, you will not know how to implement the tip. The best way to learn tips, tricks, and shortcuts is with the context of a lesson will teach you when to use them, how to use them, and you will practice using them in drawings that you're doing at that time. Quote by Steven Travers. Basically, don't go for the tiny little potato chips when looking for videos. Go for the big meals. The things that are fully satiating, that give you all your nutrients, everything you need, so that you can continue to gain the proper muscles and bone density and all that, is a metaphorical way of saying just go for full-on video lessons. Don't find little bits and pieces of this one trick I learned. No, you don't look at that. You look at a full-on course that goes from beginning to end of a particular subject that you're interested in learning, from simple to complex. Okay, and finally, the last thing is, if you are self-taught, you need to look at your work and be as realistic and reasonable as you can be in critiquing your art. Looking at it and asking honestly, does it look right? Is it what I was hoping for? If not, why not? If your art does not look quite right, why doesn't it look right? And what can you do to bring your art closer to what you are trying to create? If you're not sure, it helps to get another perspective from a friend or a family member who won't be worried about hurting your feelings, but can happily say when something doesn't look right. Another important thing to do is to put your finished art up in the mirror, because when you're working on it, you're so focused on the way it already looks that it's hard for you to pinpoint any flaws. But when you put your drawing into a mirror, the flaws become more obvious because it's being reflected back at you through a different perspective. And so things that may not seem quite right, you'll be able to make a note of, maybe in a book like this, to work on next time, or simply just on your drawing pad, whatever. Anyway, but not just feedback, constructive feedback. It will give you direction on where to focus for your next drawing. And that's pretty much everything that I learned from that whole video lesson. It was 20 minutes long, but but I stretched the whole thing out to like 2 hours because I was pausing every single second taking notes because of how insightful and meaningful each piece of information was. And I'm so happy that I did. This, I feel, will help give me direction when I do future plans for teaching myself art on what I should be putting my focus on. Because your focus is a lot like your time, and your time is a lot like your money. It's very valuable on what you spend. And well, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. I'll probably have one more section coming for you in a few seconds. But yeah, that was the art portion of the day. Thanks for joining me. Bye. Well, it's 1:45 a.m. It's also my birthday today. Ta-da, 26 years old, baby. I did it. And it's gonna be a great 26 year. That's 100% for sure. So I basically spent the rest of my day after taking those notes on how to be a good self-taught artist, watching a lady describe her UFO abduction experience, because I love hearing those stories, because I just find the consistencies between each story really interesting. And this lady, it looks like she genuinely believed that would happen to her, which makes it even more compelling. Of course, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, right? And if we don't have any evidence, then it's hard to really, truly take it seriously. For all I know, it's just a big publicity stunt or a psyop to trick the public into spending more of their tax dollars on military equipment. But, you know, it'd be cool if it was aliens, but it's probably not. But who knows? Maybe it is. It's so ambiguous. It's like aliens is like its own new religion, right? Like people always saying, disclosure's coming, guys. It's right around the corner. Meanwhile, government constantly says it doesn't exist and they're withholding like any supposed information. So who knows? Is it a psyop? Is it real? Is it just a bunch of hoopla to sell books and merchandise to hopeful people who want it to be real? Who can say? Well, anyways, after watching that, I decided to take a alien abduction story that I got from a YouTube video and get the transcription of that and then have ChatGPT write that description of what happened into prompts to be put into the Sora video generation software. So I could put those in Sora and see if it could generate responses that are adherent to the prompts written, so we could get like a visual representation of what happened to the individual in their abduction case. And the results have been extremely mixed. The issue is trying to get a consistent environment, consistent main character, and consistent interpretation of the craft and the beings. And sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, and there's that part of my brain that's always going, well, you gotta try again. And there's another part of my brain that's going, go to sleep, Noah. Come on, it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. And I've just been doing that for like the past 2 hours. Probably should stop, but it's so addictive. Anyways, yep, that was pretty much the day. I hope you guys like this new format where I just record updates interspersed throughout my day and then put them in one big little video compilation for you all to watch. I think it gives more of a comprehensive view of how my day went rather than me just talking about it at the end in a short summary. Okay, well, good night and take care, everybody. After I'm done with my silly little Sora experiment, I'm hitting the hay.